facing bar to bar. I learned to chase the pain and arm the scars. And my tail fire, that's a Charizard. And we aim higher than the Taj Mahal.
Hello. My name is Kaiser. This is my co-host Sky. Let me, before I kick it off to him, let me cue up the episode here. All right, Sky. We had episode 9 of Dragon Ball Daima. All right, and I saw 3 key takeaways. A Glind family reunion is in the works. Vegeta sucks at hitchhiking, but still kicks ass. And Majinn Kuu makes me only think of the Portuguese translation of coup, which is ass. His name is Majin Ass, Sky. All this and more in this episode of Daima in Review. Just saying. Now, of course, Sky, we had an episode that I was seeing a lot of people online trash. I'm not gonna say anything else from there. But a lot of people are trashing this episode. Sky, did you enjoy this episode? What would you, if you want to maybe assign a rating to for this episode?
All right. So and I want to get to this a bit later because I think this is where we're going to talk the most of. Right? Okay. But from my understanding, it's not that people hated the whole episode. There were 2 things that people did not like, and the major thing happens at the end, and it's mostly in terms of design before anything else.
This is true. This has also been coming up, yes.
But other than that, I'd still rate this a 7 out of 10 for me.
Agreed.
So, pretty good. Mm-hmm.
Agreed. I saw a video. I was doing the dishes earlier on. My fingers are all pruned up. And when I do the dishes, I always like listening to content, whether it's a podcast or just like a Dragon Ball explainer video. And so that's where I found myself today. And I was watching this video of someone trying to explain why GT is better than Super. Okay. And I'm not going to lie, he had some compelling points, but a lot of it boiled down to being authentic to the original Dragon Ball content. Right? There's so much retconning that happens super. Anyway, point being, there was something about this episode that I loved for that reason. I'm looking at this video. I also watched another video, another creator. I got to start linking these things, talking about like, oh, I get it now. He's this Dragon Ball. He's never watched Dragon Ball. He had friends. I
understand it now.
Yeah, I understand now. He had a Glorio moment because he had friends growing up that always watched Dragon Ball and were so passionate about it and would want him to watch but never watch. And he started watching from the beginning Dragon Ball, and he got to the end of Muscle Tower. All right, so Gohan, of course, beating his first real run-in end game boss, whatever you want to call it, with the Red Ribbon Army hat over there. And he's like, I fucking get it now. I get the special sauce. You there's something about that, and the reason I bring all that up is a lot of the complaints that I saw, Sky, were around like this feeling like the most filler episode, basically boiling down to that. To me, this just felt like Dragon Ball. Like, I think there's so many Dragon Ball Z fans, obviously, that people that came into Z that have never watched Dragon Ball, and I totally get that if you're coming at it from that perspective, and you got that insane, again, adrenaline rush of Dragon Ball Super and a lot of the places it takes you, you're gonna look at an episode like this and be like, there wasn't a big fight. There was some pretty big info drops. The plot moved along in significant ways, right? So, like, for me, a lot of the stuff that maybe people thought were boring and slow, like Goku in the beginning trying to track back down the Dragon Ball from those 2 characters, the whole scene with that in general, ball getting stolen, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, that stuff's awesome. that's at the raw core of Dragon Ball, or these little adventures, and especially the little side adventures that Goku would go on in Dragon Ball on his way to the journey, right? It's not just this straight line path like fucking Future Trunks pops in and he's like, hey, I'm gonna take you straight to Goku Black right now and you're just gonna start fighting. There's a journey throughout it, right? So I don't know, I loved this episode as well. Honestly, I'd probably give it like similarly like a 7 or an 8. I thought it was really, really good.
So I agree with you in the fact that like I think people overall, I mean obviously you're entitled to your own opinion, but I feel like some people were a bit harsh on the entirety of the episode. But I do disagree with you on the sense of like the thieves thing. I thought it was kind of lame and pretty filler for me, just because I'm not a big fan of the whole we stole the Dragon Ball fucking little like side plot thing in an episode. I think it's gotten kind of old. Like we've seen this like a dozen times now in Dragon Ball. Like Pilaf has done it, fucking like literally everybody's done it. Frieza has done it, right? Like it's happened so many times now where I'm just like, okay, can we just do something else with it? Like if we're gonna make something, like if we're trying to extend this episode, because let's be real, a lot of it was just to stretch out the episode so we can get to the second half of it, and I know that because that bird dude was dodging Goku like 15 times before Goku got a hand at the ball at all, which is just absolutely insane. But I don't know. I just feel like he could have done something better with it. To me, it wasn't that fun. It's not that I wasn't watching the episode and falling asleep, but I was more like, all right, let's get to something else. I'm good with this. Like you're chasing these two dudes. There's nothing really cool about it to me. If it happened like if this is like the first time it's ever happened, sure, bro, that's cool. You stealing the Dragon Ball, but this is like we've seen people try to steal the Dragon Ball since the beginning of fucking Christ. Like,
right. And I think you're right. Like they needed, maybe that wasn't the greatest example, but what I will say is they needed to do something. Obviously, I mean, no, they didn't actually. They could have maybe just written it in that they got to Warp Sama, right? Because really it was just Pansy being like, hey, I need to sleep somewhere normal, I need a bath, and Goku needs one too, right? Like we didn't technically, that didn't need to be the driver that took us to that like weird bar / inn, right? But we get there, and of course like something's gonna have to happen when they go there. Like it's gonna happen. It's not gonna be their ship getting stolen again. But the fact that they did redo that kind of sucked, because especially with how that ended up, where Vegeta kind of just in them get it back anyways. It was such a weird, like that stuff to me felt like the Vegeta scene was great and we got good stuff from it, but the reasoning for being in place is maybe a little lazy. Yeah.
That kind of goes to like, because I have my notes in order, but the one thing I did like about the whole first half of the episode, the part that I didn't like as obviously as much as the second half, is the part where Goku's like, all right guys, you guys all go to sleep. I'm gonna stay up. I got this. And then you just see him like training and stuff like that. And I have here in my notes, I said Goku just can't stay awake. And I knew that right when he said, oh, I'm just gonna stay up, I'm like, Goku, you're about to crash the fuck out. Though what I will say is, I know this isn't anything big. It's not like, oh, you have to be a genius writer for this. Though I do like that they're showing that. In the beginning of the episode, we actually do see Goku sleeping on the ship. And then he does let them know later on. He's like, listen, I took a nap on the ship. I'll be good to go for the night. You guys sleep, and then I'll sleep again later when we commute somewhere else on the ship.
Really good point. Yeah.
So I do like that they tied that together. Again, it's not like brilliant writing. It should be common sense, but I like that they have shown that though. They're like, they literally showed us Goku sleeping on the ship, and then they let us know later on, okay, well that makes kind of sense. It makes sense, but we all know at the back of our heads, we know Goku. We've known Goku for 4 decades now, right? Almost 5. We know he ain't staying awake, but it's just funny that he's like, yeah, you know, I slept. I'm gonna stay awake. Blah blah. It's like, all right. In the back of our heads, we all knew Goku was not gonna stay awake.
Yeah, and that's very
I
like
thought that
kid
part was
Goku
funny.
Humor as well.
Yeah, and I thought that was great. That was my favorite part of the first half, I'd say.
Yeah, that was nice. Like, it was. I really enjoyed like what you said. It again nostalgically brings me back to Dragon Ball, but also like it didn't need to be there. it was great, and I'm glad we got it, because hey, you know what, if we want to say that this episode was a filler episode, whatever, like at least part of the quote-unquote filler was great. I mean, again, I don't want to jump too ahead, I enjoyed a lot of parts of this, of many parts of this, so I don't know what's next on your notes, but is it around like the Goma conversation with Shin's brother?
No, that's close. I'm close to that though.
Okay.
I am close.
What do you have next?
So mine is actually, it's Vegeta throwing hands at a nightclub.
Yes.
And so I have a couple of things here. So before we even get to Vegeta throwing hands, because we knew he was going to do what he's been, what he can do. He's very, at this point in time, he's pretty similar to Goku and strength. Goku is obviously strong. We know this at the end of Z. Goku is still pretty significantly stronger because he has Super Saiyan 3 in the back there. But and we know that Vegeta has Super Saiyan 2. Though Vegeta's still no slouch, right? We all know this. And we knew, bro. We knew he'd slap those guys up quickly. But in the back of my head, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, you're at a nightclub, Vegeta, right? You look like you're 5. 1, 2. You're with a girl that looks like she's also 5. You're with all these people. Your whole crew looks like they're childs. That's not even the biggest thing. It's like you go to a nightclub and you got a burger and a soda. I'm thinking to myself, this food must be horrible. Absolutely. The food already at a fine dine restaurant or wherever restaurants they went with, like when Goku went, already looked terrible. Now imagine a nightclub.
True.
In this demon realm, it must have been like garbage. Like they took it out of the garbage and they're like, hey, here you go, surf's up. I don't know, man, but that's what I have in my notes. I have also the nightclub food probably tasted horrible, but being Vegeta, I'm pretty sure he gobbled that shit down. Bulma was probably the first to complain. Piccolo was just kind of there. It's like, whatever, man, I'll just meditate. Fuck the food.
I know, because he can't eat. He doesn't eat.
Yeah, it doesn't eat.
He's crazy. Yeah, I mean that scene looked sick.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Really, really sick. Like the idea of Vegeta, Piccolo, and Bulma even hanging out at a bar like that is kind of like, I mean, they had to. It was the stop along the way, likely, but it was just cool. It was funny as well. And like having Vegeta kick some ass during that scene looked sick. And then of course later on, he gets a little bit more action as well, but we can't get there yet.
Yeah. And then I guess we can start talking about that Goma conversation. The first thing I have on my notes is I'm pretty disappointed in Dagesu. I'll be honest with you. So it's either Goma has to be really strong. The weaker Goma looks, the worse Dagesu looks, because I wrote down Dagesu has no aura. How are you arguably look better than Shin, Supreme Kai, right? I mean, not arguably. Personally, I think design-wise, he looks better than Supreme Kai. Yeah. And Supreme Kai, like, has way more aura than you do. And Supreme Kai's a fucking phony sometimes, especially in Super. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, you're really scared. Like, there's, like, that part where he's, like, running back and he's like, oh! I'm like, bro, are we for real right now? Like, really? Like, Goma's giving me peel-off vibes, dude, and you're, like, scared as shit. Like, again, I do believe Goma, like I said, and you've, I think, kind of agree with me. I think Goma will have some sort of pretty strong magic.
Maybe a transformation.
Or something like that, but I think it's going to rely on the third eye, which we'll talk about later, too, because I think...
I'm glad you're there.
We know who has it.
Yes.
So I was like, yeah, man, Dagesu, I'm disappointed in you, bro. I now I have no hope. Like, Arinsu, Dagesu is the lowest on the total. Arinsu is cool as shit. Her design's cool. She's badass. She has her own ambitions. Whether they're good or bad is not the point. The point is she has her own ambitions, and it makes her character a lot more interesting in the story than Dagesu right now. Dagesu is a servant who just has nothing but fear for Goma. Again, not saying a servant or someone who works under somebody can't be an interesting character. With Dagesu, it's almost like he just submits himself all the time to Goma, and he doesn't have any sort of ideas or his own personality. He's kind of just there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of not disappointing in a writing perspective, because I mean, you have to write characters like this. It's not that I'm upset with Toriyama writing Dagesu that way. I'm more disappointed that, I'm more disappointed on the character itself. It's like, you're a Kai, dude. You're a Glyn, right? Can we like act up at least somewhat?
Well, who knows, right? Because here's the thing.
Maybe.
Does that serve to, like, we hear a little bit about Degasu's history in the second demon realm, which he's about to go back to, but we hear a little bit about how, like, he was kind of the outcast, and he ends up leaving because he wants nothing to do with his kind. Like, that's what that's the vibe. I mean, that's what was communicated from by Shin. So maybe it's just like, if he doesn't do what Goma says, he has to go back to the second demon realm or something like that. You know what I mean? Maybe that's also a lot of the reason to why he's like very hesitant to go back. You know, like, I'm sure he's not looking forward to that. But yeah, I joked off. I joked around at the beginning when I said that we're about to get a Glyn family reunion, but I think we might. And who knows? I think it's very possible that, should I say this already? Okay, well, with, you know, we know what is Majinn Kuu gonna do. He's about to go fight the first demon, right? The first Dragon Ball, Tamagami. He's gonna get the Dragon Ball. All of a sudden, we're gonna have 2 Dragon Balls. Okay. What if everyone's gonna end up in the same place, and then it's a true family reunion, and Arinsu is also there, shows up with Kuu. Kuu kicks everyone's ass. They take the 2 Dragon Balls. Now it's a race to the. Oh, now they're in the second demon realm with the other Dragon Ball. Shit, actually, there's a lot, dude. Majin Kuu is definitely showing up in the second demon realm. There's no doubt. He's gonna get the first one, and then the whole thing's gonna be to get the other 2. And you know what's the funny part, Sky? This is my other prediction. The Dragon Ball ain't in the bag, bro. He has not checked the bag since getting the bag back. Do you know how much that killed me? I'm like waiting for that visual confirmation. We never get it. I think there's a high chance that Majin Kuu kicks everyone's ass in the second demon realm. He takes off, or they take off, and then only later on do they realize they have 2 Dragon Balls on a big rock. And now it's going to be this hunt to get the other Dragon Ball, which probably these 2 idiots from this episode that were deemed filler are actually going to be holding on to. That's actually my prediction right there.
Really?
That's my prediction. I think that's how it's going to go out.
You're telling me that these 2, I don't think we're ever seeing those 2 characters again.
I think they have the Dragon Ball.
I don't think so.
Or they sold it. We're going to catch up with them. They're going to be like, we sold it. 100. Dude, I'm telling you. And they gave these characters like some character design. Like a little bit. More than like the random filler characters. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I agree.
We even get like a transformation out of one. He can turn into a wolf. I think it's very
like
possible.
Or like something.
Yeah, a little Indiana Jones switch up. I think maybe happened here. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Have you got any predictions out of this episode? Anything that maybe shaped up?
I do have predictions, but that's for the later talks.
Okay.
With Majin Kuu.
Okay.
Let me actually do this. So, what I want to say is, so in every anime, every show, every series, there tends to be, even in a very serious series, which is not Daima, by the way, it's not too serious. But in general, there's always a character where they get onto the scene, they get onto whatever, they get on the scene and they brighten the mood in some sort of way, right? Whether it's comedic or whether they're jolly characters, regardless, right? And that's Hibis, right? So Hibis is the what would you call him?
He's like a Kingsman. Oh yeah, he's comic relief, 100%.
So he's a comic relief character, and he's given off the whole. He's giving off like the whole. How do I say, like the complete opposite of like the squirrel in Ice Age, where he's trying to get the acorn and somehow, some way, he just never gets it, even though it's right there. Something fucking terrible somehow happens. Hibis somehow is gonna be the complete opposite, bro. he's almost like Mr. Satan. Like Mr. Satan should have been dead the first time we saw him, right? But he never did. And what I mean by that is him having the complete key of Goma being insanely powerful, which is what he has on his belt, an eye that he found in the forest.
No, on
right?
a mountain, on a hill or a mountain.
On a mountain or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah. So that's very interesting. And I'm pretty sure because we went from that scene straight to Goma's scene talking about the third eye. So
Yeah.
I really think that's definitely what it is. I mean, it's literally an eye on his belt. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And it seems very active.
Yeah.
Like that eye. It's not like it's just there. No, it was like it was moving around and stuff. So it's trying to get free, I'm sure.
It's the evil third eye. It's nuts that it's just on this guy's belt. I agree with everything you're saying because he is one of the most effective and consistent pieces of comedic relief in the series so far. His bit, even around just eating chips during the Vegeta fight, I was laughing out loud. I loved it. I only got to finish 2 chips. Like, even that was like, dude, you're such a waste, bro. Like, you're such a... He like... So, his personality is, I don't want to be here right now. I don't give a fuck. I'd rather be doing anything else. Okay? I love it. It's so good. I also saw, like, a comment today when I was looking at videos. Someone just being like, yo, this guy's a vibe. He is such a vibe. I hope that somehow we get him back because, like, I just love his personality.
Dude, how funny would it be if, like, Hibis and Monaka just had a conversation with each other?
Oh, that'd be sick. Let's get him working on Beerus's planet. That's what we need.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny.
Yeah,
for sure. All right. So I guess let's get to the bread and butter. Okay, the main talking point of this episode, right?
The Vegeta fight.
Yeah, it's definitely. Well, actually, to be fair,
I was gonna say, do you want to skip it? Yeah, good.
I mean, I think we talked about it briefly. It was pretty cool.
It was cool.
Everyone wanted Vegeta to do something, whether you're a Vegeta fan or not. Everybody who is a Goku fan, I'm pretty sure, would love to just see other people shine too. I mean, I know so many Goku fans who are just like, yo, I'd love to see anyone else shine. Vegeta did pretty good. This doesn't really mean anything though. I would like to see him beat Tamagami 2 now.
Yeah.
Now my original prediction is now gonna probably be false because I said that he would probably beat Tamagami 2 and Goku would beat 1. But we're pretty sure now that Kuu will face off against 1. And let's go right into the Majin Kuu reveal. So before we actually get into his not only his design but his reveal, all that stuff, I actually got spoiled. So I was it was Friday and I was gonna watch it like later in the night. It was like 7 something. I was just like, let me get on YouTube and I'm just gonna watch some videos, random like COD videos or just anything I like to watch.
Yeah.
And the first thing that pops up is Majin Kuu arrives from a reaction. And then it's like you see his face and everything on the thumbnail. I'm like, damn, bro, why would you do that on your thumbnail? And like I was like, fuck, man. So I saw that and I went instantly to Crunchyroll to watch it. Because I just like, okay, what the fuck? So that's what his name is, Majin Kuu. I looked at it and I was like, dude, this guy looks like Kui, whatever his name is, and he looks like Hit. Yeah, make sure
a little
Hit
bit.
And Kui.
Yeah. But of course, he's actually a Cyberman.
Well, no, he's not actually. He's not a Cyberman.
He's part.
They use Cyberman seeds to help with the form, which is also pretty interesting because what's her name again? Marba? I think it's Marba. She was saying how she didn't have much left and she sold Cyberman seeds to outsiders. What's cool about that is she probably sold it to Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz. How crazy would it be if somehow Vegeta knew Marba and didn't realize she had the M sign on it when she first gave it to him? Or it could have just been like a transaction where she sent it to someone to give it to someone else, right? That
somehow, yes. And that's actually a note that I had here. Like, I can't wait for Vegeta to catch wind of all this lore, basically, because there's gonna be something that he knows. That's what I have down. Like his partner literally had 2 or 3 of these Cybermen seeds. So very interesting. Also, she only uses 1 of 2 seeds. That's something I also noticed as well. So is that going to come into play? I think it might be a little repetitive, or maybe down the line.
Well, the thing is, we could definitely assume that dozens of seeds were used against the Majin Buu we knew in the Buu saga, because she was being safe with the 1, because she only had 2, and she was like, let's make sure this works first. So maybe not dozens, but maybe the original Buu used like 3, 4, 5. We don't know, right? So what's interesting now, though, is yes, she still has that 1 seed, but how is she going to use it now? Would she have to ask Majin Kuu to eat it now? Because he's no longer a liquid in a cauldron. He's a physical being now. So would she have to give it to? Because remember, Majin Kuu is someone who will listen to orders. That was the whole point. The whole point is to be able to control this Majin Kuu, and that would make him, or Majin Kuu, to make him more dangerous, right? So maybe Marbat at some point will be like, take this seed.
Maybe kind of like I keep thinking chia seed. Why would I think of a chia seed? A sensu bean.
Yeah.
Kind of like a sensu bean almost. I could see that being a moment where it's like, take this, and all of a sudden that's when we get the evolution of this Majin Kuu, right? That could definitely happen.
The other thing though is like it's a Cybermen seed. It's like they're not that strong, so like why would that enhance him to a bigger?
Yeah.
But then they can also hit us with the Cybermen seed is just a part of a reaction that's mixed within Majin Kuu that makes him a lot stronger. It's not necessarily that a Cybermen was this, because remember, Cybermen were just as strong as Raditz. That was the whole point. Is when Raditz came in and then Vegeta and stuff came with Cybermen, they're like, these guys are as strong as Raditz. They had the same power level as Raditz. So they were at that time a big threat, because at that point Goku couldn't even solo Raditz or Piccolo. So when they came, the Cybermen were really dangerous. But in the Buu saga, Cybermen are nothing, absolutely nothing. Yamcha would be able to punch one in an instant.
I wish he was here to do that. Like that would be sick. But yeah, no, of course not. What do you think of Gerald's prediction down low? Basically, you have 2 Majin Kuus, and then you get them to eat the fusion bug.
Oh, you're saying that? Okay, that might be interesting too.
I don't think they would do it, but that would probably be the most powerful version to get. That would be like my guess.
Yeah.
She probably has tons of these bugs laying around because lore. You know what I mean? Like she can. It would make sense if this Marba person just has a bunch of seeds of these bugs.
Bro, super Majin Kuu.
Super Majin Kuu. I like it.
Hey man, I just hope. Now okay. I guess we can go to.
Oh no, hold on. I have one more part before you move on from Majin Kuu.
Okay.
So
it's still about Majin Kuu.
Yes. So Majin Kuu he's technically, if you think about it, 4 parts. Okay, so he's part Cyberman. He's part Fat Buu. He's a little bit of a King's Cup of what she's had laying around. So that could mean so many things. And technically, he gets the spit from Darasu. So I know that was more of a hey, this is the person you listen to thing, but literally maybe that's nothing. We can put that aside. But as far as the King's Cup of other stuff, right? I wonder now, if some of the Majin curse, beings that we've seen in the past, if some of those abilities come back, like speed or absorbing power blasts or something along those lines, that would be really interesting, right?
Mm-hmm. That would be interesting, and it would also add more complexity to Majin Kuu's character too.
Yeah.
Right. It add more depth. which I think might happen, not in terms of depth as like a personality, because there's not it's a man-made thing. It's not something like, it's not like having Mercenary Tao as like your villain, right? Mercenary Tao was just someone who became evil, you know, worked around and with the Red Ribbon Army. Completely different. Majin Buu was a creation, right?
Yeah.
So there's not much like ambition on this, and you know what, this is why I do this thing or that thing, right? That's why I've always said, like, sure, Buu is a cool villain, though Vegeta might still be like top two, and that's why Frieza to me is like the number one villain, because he had his own ambitions, which we all disagree with. Well, I hope so. But the fact that he had his own ambition made him more complex, right? And it made him like, okay, like, yeah, you're fucked up, but like, this is how you feel about things, this is how you view things, and that adds that extra layer for him. So for Majin Kuu, if you have that sort of element in terms of, okay, he's not complex in like his ambitions and stuff because he's a creation, but why don't we add that complexity in terms of this, like, this is how he thinks, and this is how he like, you know what I mean, like shit like that, like as his mental state more so. And the fact that he speaks full lingo, basically, right? From what we saw, which is really, I'm really excited for that, because as much as I love as much as I love Boo in general, you know, me eat you up and isn't always gonna, you know, blow my mind, right? So I think this is a cool little, you know, it's a little different, and I like that too. So
yeah, I love Gerald's comment. He says,
yeah,
Super Majin Kuu.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny.
He's so good. Okay, you had something you want to transition to. What is that?
Oh, it's actually a Rinsu. So one thing I always have an issue with in general, even for like my favorite series ever, is villains who are just, they don't make any sense in their decision making, like anything, right? The one thing I really loved about Rinsu was Majin Kuu literally was created, and she's like, all right, beat Tamagami 1. Like, and then Marvel's like, Tamagami 1, and she's like, well, if he can't beat Tamagami 1, then what the fuck is he for?
Yeah.
Right? Perfect. I like that, though, because it's like, imagine she made a Majin Kuu, and she's like, all right, we're going to beat Goku. It's like, no, she knows he just beat Tamagami 3. Let's see what Majin Kuu can do against Tamagami 1, which is also interesting, by the way. And this is also what I wanted to point out. What I wanted to point out is this, it could mean two things, though. She maybe asked him to go to Tamagami 1 because he's actually the strongest Tamagami, or she said to go to Tamagami 1 because she knows Goku now is going to the second one, so she's killing two birds with one stone. That could be the two. I'm kind of hoping it's a bit of both. I'm kind of hoping that Tamagami 1 is actually the strongest out of the three, and so we're gonna get a cool fight. I'm pretty sure we're gonna see Majin Kuu win, right? But I would like to see Tamagami 1 throw hands. I mean, these are new characters. I want to see them show out in some sort of way. I'm getting a few hits on Majin Kuu would be nice. Maybe Majin Kuu gets a little frustrated, and then we see his real true power in that form, and then he ends up being Tamagami 1. I'm completely cool with that. Just, I want them all to show out. That would be cool.
Yeah.
But that's good looking. Majin Kuu versus Tamagami 1, I hope, is very well animated, like the Goku Tamagami 3, because that will be the first fight basically where we don't see any of the main characters, and they're going and they're animating it, and they're putting their heart out for these two, and that's kind of what I'm looking forward to the most in terms of the action of Daima, is seeing Majin Kuu versus Tamagami 1 now, because it's gonna happen. That's the point. The point is, Rinsu's gonna have that one Dragon Ball already, and she's gonna have to snatch through using Majin Kuu to get probably the other two from Goku and the Z Fighters.
And company,
and company.
Yeah, I think. Oh man, it's gonna be very, very interesting if we have this whole family reunion on. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe Rinsu, maybe he doesn't go. But maybe we have, I keep forgetting Shin's brother.
Degesu?
Degesu. So he's going there with resentment already. But imagine he gets there. Okay, he sees, I don't know when he gets there, but basically he's going to be there for the point that I'm building to. Okay? But I'd love to see, yes, either Vegeta or Piccolo take on Tamagami 1 or 2, right? And then it was like, wow, what a struggle. It was way harder than 3. And then a Majin Kuu shows up, drops the number 1 Dragon Ball on the ground, and he just murks everybody. And but the thing is, okay, no, actually, my prediction doesn't make sense. I was gonna say they could really like create this, like they've kind of already illustrated that the second Demon Realm is very kind of interesting and beautiful, and they have the 3 trees. It's gonna look really cool. You're gonna have this whole family element to Shin being there, Dagasu being there again for the first time in a long ass time, and maybe him starting to feel a connection to it if some of it is destroyed in this whole thing, and feeling bad and sorry, and like all of a sudden, what if he is now part of the gang? I don't know. What if it's those 2 taking a fusion bug? Who knows, right?
Yeah.
But I could see that being like an interesting arc of making us like feel something sort of like that. You're like, oh man, like seeing a tree go down. Maybe 1 tree is destroyed, you know?
Yeah.
They could take it in so many directions, Sky. Where do you think next episode's gonna take us? Is it gonna feel filler, or do you think we're gonna get the Tamagami 1 fight with Kuu?
That's interesting. I don't know if we'll get that right away. What I'm more curious about is where does this leave Goma? Because they've hinted him getting the 3rd eye. He's probably somehow going to get it from Hibis's belt.
Yeah.
And we only have like 11 episodes left. And we got a lot to go through. So I'm curious on, like, the pacing has to be good from here on out. And we need Goma. Like, Goma's part of this too, right? Where does it leave him? Because now we have Arinsu, we have Majin Kuu, we have Vegeta and Piccolo in here. We still have Glorio and Glorio's real ambitions. Like, we there's so much still that needs to be shown. So I'm really curious on like what's next, because I could see it going, yeah, Majin Kuu somehow gets teleported by Arinsu, or just somehow gets to Tamagami 1 real quick and gets there. But I don't know. If we can absorb Goma with the eye is GG.
Yeah, for real. Jeez. Do you think he's going to have the absorption power?
I mean, he's with Fat Boo.
Yeah, but you know what I thought was interesting as well? I saw, I follow this Instagram account. I don't remember what they're called. It's, again, I'm shitty at referencing. But they have a lot of like cross-reference photos of like earlier moments in time or whatever. And so with Kuu being created, there was like at the cauldron, and then the smoke coming out, and it's green smoke. But then on the other side, it shows Majin Buu, and it's like the pink blubs kind of going up.
Yeah.
The fact that it's more of like a green smoke makes me wonder if like he does blow up, but he is smoke instead that comes together. And is he still gonna have this like absorption thing, or is everyone just really over that? Maybe like I'm a little over the whole absorption thing personally. Like I don't really need it, but hey, if they do it, whatever. Maybe there's a cool dynamic there. I don't know.
Did we have anyone who absorbed in Super? No, right? It was Cell. It was just Cell and Boo, I believe, right?
Okay, so, well, even in
Zamasu
that's not true
really...
because in the manga we got it. Moro absorbs 73.
Yeah.
And then
we do get the Moro stuff
even
too.
in Uncanon, like we get that with Baby.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. Maybe they'll do it. At least have it to where like. I've never thought the candy beam and chocolate beam thing was cool. It was like a funny thing every once in a while, but like if he just starts randomly turning people into things he can eat, I'm gonna be cheesed. That's where I'm gonna draw a line. I'm sorry. Although he is part innocent Boo. He literally is part innocent Boo specifically, so. What is that gonna mean? Is he gonna be a good guy? Is that gonna happen where he just?
Well, no, he's not. Guy? He's not part innocent Boo though.
He is.
Because that's before Boo fights evil Boo.
Before he gets split from the evil, But so, innocent Boo, like there's still the Kai in there, the good part of him. There's still the good part.
No, there is good. There is good.
There is good.
There is also that skinny crackhead. There too.
I want to like mod Sparking Zero so that I can rename it. That's all I want to do. I want to rename characters so that I have Crackhead Boo. That would be amazing.
Crackhead Boo is great.
Yeah.
Probably be my favorite Boo.
And then we got to add Lemo in and call him Goat.
Yeah.
That's
I mean that Dino, UI Dino.
That also means that we're probably going to get Majinn Kuu in Sparking Zero.
Oh, I'm pretty sure we will. I'm pretty sure we'll. I mean, I know we're getting Majinn Kuu in Future World because set 5 is literally based off Daima. It's a Daima whole set, and they're releasing one card at a time. They usually release 2 cards at a time. They're obviously doing it slowly because they're waiting for things to be revealed. I'm pretty sure we'll get them by this week. We'll get a Majinn Kuu card revealed. I am almost certain because that's how they do things. So I'm excited for that too. So what happened was Fusion World, they released Glorio the week after he was shown. So in episode 2, they've shown us Glorio again. So that was cool.
Did we get Tamagami?
No, not yet, and I can't wait, bro. I
Yeah.
can't wait. That will be cool. I'm hoping we get an interesting Daima leader. That'd be nice. Maybe like a Rinsu or a Goma leader, something like that. That's something different.
Yeah, don't give us like Goku or something like.
Goku already has a Daima, another Daima leader.
Yeah. Is there a Piccolo deck?
Yeah, there is. It's just really bad.
Oh,
right
is
now.
It Namekians,
anyway.
Basically.
No, not that's the problem. It's just like it's kind of just whatever shit right now. There's not like a full archetype yet.
That's unfortunate. Yeah.
But it's looking like he might get support this set, hopefully. So
very good, very good. Sky, any other closing remarks for episode 9?
No, actually, I thought it was pretty good. Again, we talked about what we thought was a little shakier and it was more in the beginning parts, but other than maybe the design of Majinn Kuu, which I'm not like a 0 out of 10 on, like I'm very whatever with it. I do hope that there is some sort of newer transformation. I know we didn't really touch too much on his design, but one of the saving graces he does have, if he doesn't change his design, is I'm loving the voice actor already. I mean, I know he's had one line, but it's great. It's different. You never think like a Majin Buu, some sort of variant, would have a voice like that, but he does, and I love it so far. So I can't wait to see more dialogue from Majin Kuu.
Yeah,
and I'm hoping, and like you said, like what do I expect for next episode? I'm gonna say I don't expect anything just because I don't know where we're landing next week. Are we gonna be focused more on Goma and getting this third eye? Are we focused on Majin Kuu trying to get to Tamagami 1 and fighting them? Are we more focused on Vegeta? They're getting that plane and they're going to meet Goku at Warp Sama, or are we just gonna see Goku get right to Tamagami 2 soon and fight off? Or are we just gonna get a slow-paced episode again where they go to a bar and they kick some ass again? I hope not, but other than that, yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I think that we're gonna get them just entering Warp Sama, like just getting to as like the cliffhanger, just getting there to Demon Realm 2, and Vegeta and gang being right behind them, maybe landing as well. And it's like, okay, the gang is together, we're about to go. I do think next episode we're gonna get the Tamagami 1 fight with Majin Kuu, because literally he's just off to do that now. So I don't think there's gonna be like a stop, answer questions kind of deal with Majin Kuu. I feel like he's just gonna be I'm getting there, and it's gonna be very quick, just like the whole exchange has been with him being created and everything. And like, okay, not gonna waste time. Go fight go fight Tamagami 1, and let's see what you're about, so we can move on with this. It feels very quick in the pacing of it, and that's why I feel like we're gonna get that face-off next episode.
Yeah, man, I can't wait. And before we end off, let's end it off with something funny here. Gerald says, Goma fusing with Kuu is Goku. Yo. And that is very true. So maybe we'll have a Goku versus Goku at the end of Daima.
Okay, sorry. One last thing I forgot to bring up, and it's very small. Okay, so Neva is the Namekian. He's clearly not like no one in the Pansy is the daughter of one of the ruler of the third demon realm or something, and she has never seen Neva or Neva. because she sees Piccolo and goes, "Oh my gosh, you're the first Namekian I've ever seen." So clearly, like, he just has no exposure ever to the outside world. Like, he's probably just like, you know, in his own little bubble,
Yeah.
or like completely controlled and
It
secluded.
could just be like
specifically.
he could be isolated. Maybe, you know what,
Yeah.
though, too. I'm thinking maybe the older generation Namekians just tended to be a lot more conservative into themselves.
That's
because
true.
we do see that in the Granola arc with Granola's friend. He was a lot older and he liked to stay by himself and he was isolated in Planet Cereal. Maybe that's just how like the beginning stages, like the early generation of Namekians where they're just to themselves. And
Yeah.
but again, it could just be a reach and they might not go more into that, but that could just be it. I don't know. I mean, even Piccolo's not that old, but he's to himself a lot.
That's true.
too.
Yeah, very. Yeah. Yeah. We will see where this whole thing, what's going to happen next episode. Only way to know is when we watch it. So I know we're excited for episode 10. I think that will be a really good episode, probably for us to do a rating at 10 episodes in.
Yep,
About
50%
halfway.
done.
Yep. What do we think so far? You have gotten some of our impressions, but we're excited to reach that halfway point and to see where they're gonna leave us at, because they know it's the halfway point too.
Yep.
And like Sky said, there's a lot of loops to close, and they got to start cooking. I think they will. This has been Just Saying. That's Sky. I'm Kaiser. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends if you want. Just Saying. Catch you in the next episode.
Peace.
Face to face and bar to bar, I learned to chase the pain and arm the scars. And my tail fire, that's a Charizard. Then we aim higher than